for our first Saturday slot as well. So happy weekend, everybody. Today, Bill and I have our guest, Amanda Troop. Welcome, Amanda.
Hello.
And,
Hi.
and I also want to introduce Bill Reed because this is Bill's first time on SkillsHub on Air. So, Bill, would you mind doing a little intro of yourself?
Sure. Yeah, I'm Bill Reed, as it says, and yeah, I'm a founder of SkillsHub. I focus mainly on the sort of the operations and the product vision and a lot of support. So if you get any emails, it's probably from me. So, but yeah, that's my main role here, and it's been a hell of a ride the last 4 years. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
welcome,
Bill is the
Bill.
person that I email. I'm like, Bill, it's not working.
Yeah.
Help. Or like, whoa, you can do this now? That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bill's the brains behind all of that.
Yeah, poor Bill gets a
Something.
lot of those from me too.
Thank you.
It's fine.
Yeah.
And Amanda, would you mind giving us a little intro of yourself as well?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm Amanda Troop. I'm an actor. Obviously, I've been acting since I was 11. I've been in Los Angeles as a professional actor since I was 19. I've done TV and film. I've done about 100 commercials on camera. I've done animation and video games and a ton of audiobooks, which is an area that I've recently really been pushing into and exploring. I've done looping. I'm Spider Cat from the Spider-Verse movie. I'm what else? I was on Firebuds. I was in
Cool.
Primal. I'm in Fixed. That's coming out this month. It's a Gendy Tartakovsky 2D animated movie about dogs on a night on the town. It's very naughty. It's not for kids. And I'm an improviser. I'm a writer. I'm a coach. I'm also a HEMA novice, which is historical European martial arts. So I sword fight.
Oh.
Um,
Oh.
I do. I'm a native plants enthusiast. I make a great pizza, and I'm a mom to an amazing child. So that's a little bit about me.
Hema. I thought you were going with the blood theme with Hema, but I guess it still works, doesn't it?
The what?
Well, when you said Hema, I thought it was some sort of blood sort
Oh,
of
like
thing.
hematologist?
Yeah.
Well, you might need to see one when you face me in battle.
Love it. Love it. Oh,
That's
mm.
so cool. What I love is like you do everything, which has got to be so cool. Okay, I don't know what. Okay,
Or
all these
exhausting.
questions, all these new questions just popped
Oh,
up in my
great.
head. But I guess I'll start with this. So you mentioned that you've been acting since 11,
Mhm.
and I believe did your work start in theater at first?
Yeah. So when my parents were both in the military, they were both in the army, and my mom retired like 2 years after I was born, and then my dad was in it until he became he was lieutenant colonel when he retired. So it was sort of a choice of like, do I want to keep going in this way or retire? And so when he retired, we moved from where we were stationed on base in Kansas. We moved to Florida to be near my grandfather. And when we moved there, it was this like real like culture shock because we went from being on base where it was really easy to make friends for all of us because we were all transplants, we were all new to the area. So you just would go to the playground. Oh, you're a kid, I'm a kid, we're friends now. And then we moved to civilian life in Florida, and it was very spread out, hard to figure out where's the playground, where's everybody at. And my mom thought, okay, we'll get involved somewhere and volunteer. And we ended up going to this theater in Florida called the Naples Players. And at that time, they were doing shows in an old movie theater that they'd renovated and turned into a stage. And we went to see a show. My mom saw that there were volunteer opportunities. So she signed all of us up to build sets. And
Cool.
then there was also a musical theater program that summer for kids, and she signed me up for that. So that was how I started, was in that musical theater program, and I didn't want to do it. I was very opposed to it. I was like, no, I'm behind the scenes, if anything.
Mm.
I had seen Into the Woods, and I wanted to be the witch, but I didn't want
Oh,
to be
me
an
too.
actor. I wanted to be a witch. And so that
You
those
think
two
a
things had
real
to
witch?
connect, like a real witch,
A real legit
why
accounting
not?
witch.
And so I hadn't quite bridged those two things in my mind totally yet. And so then she signed me up for musical theater classes, and it turned out I loved it. And then I just started reading all the books I could get at the library on acting, and I got very serious about it. And so I was in plays at the community theater all throughout the time I lived in Florida. And so I was, doing high school plays, and then I was doing actual community theater plays as well. And so I did a bunch of shows there, and that's where I really started to get my my training was on my feet and learning from different directors and watching other actors. And then, that just sort of progressed as it does, where you're like, well, I guess I'm never going to give this up. And you just keep following that acting thread. And it's a different journey for everybody. And that's maybe another question. But yeah, I got started in theater.
Can I interject?
Mm-hmm.
When you watch other actors, what are you looking for? What are you seeing, and what are you taking notes on?
I'm not looking for anything.
Okay.
I'm just watching them. And then I'll go, oh, they're doing this. I'm like, let's let this, I sort of let it flow over me, and then something will pop out at me. And usually what it is it's sort of like, what's something that I've never seen before, or something that they're doing differently than I would have thought to do. And then that makes me kind of go, okay, they've done this. Why did they do that? And I might go backwards to why they made that choice.
Yeah.
Or I might just copy it physically when I'm on my own, not not in the theater, like going like, oh, they're doing this, I'm gonna do that too. Right. But like I might take that and use it in my practice later. And you just start. I had this acting teacher one time, and his advice was watch yourself, and anything that you don't like that you're doing, over time, as you watch yourself, it will go away.
Yeah.
And I also feel like when you're watching actors or listening to actors, and especially to yourself, you're taking notes, sort of behind the scenes, as it were, in your brain, and the things that you like, you're categorizing and you're cataloging for later. And the things that you're like, oh, you know what, if I didn't do that, I think I would have liked that better. And those things kind of start to fade out. Like a lot of new actors on camera, they would get very intense with their faces, which I still do. I still do it. But like you're supposed to kind of relax your face and let the emotions move the muscles by themselves, right? Like you don't like make a sad face because you're feeling sad. Your face looks sad because you're feeling sad. If that sparkles with you all. So it's that kind of thing. So I'm not really looking for anything. I'm just staying open and curious.
Yeah, so it doesn't like affect how you watch a show. You're just open to whatever comes at you. It's not like you're not actively looking for things. I see.
Right. And if there's an actor that I love, like right now I'm obsessed with Carrie Coon. So I'll watch her and I'll be like, oh, that choice. Oh, that thing. Oh, that moment. And I'll just be like, wow, okay, I love this. And I just let it wash over me. And then later, if I'm, at the mic, I'm in the booth, and I'm like, oh, I had a Carrie Coon moment. That was really exciting. It's more on instinct than it is by design.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You mentioned with on camera, like how softening your face a bit. So how do you transition from like when you're doing on camera auditions with voiceover? Because voiceover doesn't matter. You can make a bunch of wacky faces. You can be all crazy. You kind of have to, get physically into it without caring. Like if I did what I do for voiceover on camera, it would look awful. But how do you kind of transition, because you work in both? So like how do you kind of prep yourself, like, okay, I'm on camera, I have to pay attention? Is it just kind of over time getting used to jumping between the two?
I always think of it as intimacy. So the camera is really close to you. And so you would never, if you were talking to somebody, I'm going to get really close. Hold on. If you were talking to somebody, right, and you're up here, you wouldn't be like, and I'm going to be intense, right? You'd just be like, hey, I'm going to be a little intense with you right now. I'm going to make some eye contact, right? So it's about intimacy. And so when I'm back here and I'm doing a wacky character, I can be bigger. But if I'm doing a wacky character for on camera, I'm just going to maybe be a little crazy with my eyes, right? So that's all. It's just about how close you are to the person,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, that's shorthand for it. It's how close you are.
It's a good visual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you for the visual. I really appreciate
You're welcome. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that people are. We're on camera, right? People can see us. Okay, good. Otherwise, that didn't work at all.
Sorry, we didn't tell you that.
it. Yeah, this is audio only, actually.
But you know, it does make a difference, and
Yeah.
it makes a difference behind the mic too. Like if you're talking to somebody and you're very close to them, or if the copy is more realistic, like if it's like let's say you're doing a dubbing audition for dubbing a foreign project into English, for example, you're gonna act differently than if you're acting in a video game and you're on a battlefield. It's just a proximity
Yeah.
and an intimacy thing, and so you're just adjusting for how close am I to the person that I'm trying to relate to, and then that changes it. Hopefully, instinctually, it changes how you use your instrument, your facial muscles, and your voice, and all of that.
Awesome.
And I also, you know, you can do things like warm up and meditate. That helps too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find being in both kind of helps in a way? Like, oh, I can draw on this from theater, I can draw on this from on camera in the booth, or vice versa. Do you feel that, you know, working in all these different genres has been able to help you in different genres?
Oh, I think absolutely it helps. I think the main thing that, you know, you probably hear this in every single interview you do is like focus on acting first, and then let the rest of it fall you know where it does, because you know when you have your acting chops down and you have your understanding of the acting process and how to do it, then it doesn't matter where you're at. If you're in your booth by yourself, or you're on a stage, or you're, you know, filming in front of a green screen, or you're doing mocap, or whatever you're doing, you're acting. So then you're just taking those same skills and you're applying them to different environments. If you're thinking about like, I need to make a sound that's appropriate for this job. Now I need to make a sound that's appropriate for that job. I think that's much, much, much harder.
Yeah.
Because then you're just an imitation and
Yeah.
you're playing at these characters. Whereas you can make it so much easier on yourself if you learn how to play a character with good acting chops, which can be developed through acting classes. Then it doesn't matter what medium you're working in. Those chops will be there for you, and then it's just about, okay, make it bigger, make it smaller.
Right. Feels like you're working if you're trying to like do acting as like not pretending, but like trying to force it. Whereas if you try and be the character, it feels like it must feel like less effort in some ways. I don't know. Is that?
That's right. And ultimately, the ability to do things with less effort makes you easier to listen to, makes
Right.
you easier to watch. And so I'm always as an actor, my pursuit is I'm always looking for grace. I'm always looking to do what I need to do with the least amount of effort. And when you find that sweet spot, they might call it flow space.
Right.
It just feels smooth and
Yeah.
it feels connected and it feels easy, and time drops away and you know, okay, I've done it. I've found where I need to be and how to be the most connected and the most easeful I can be in this moment. So yeah, one of the things you'll see with very, very excellent on-camera actors is it's like they're just showing up. They're
Yeah.
just a person. You know, like I love watching Walter Goggins. I don't know if you saw the latest season of White Lotus. He's pretty hot right now. He was great in Vice Principals too, but he's a really good actor. And so you just see him like he's just easy. He's just easy. It's like he just thought of it. Meryl Streep, she just thinks of it. It's just like, oh yeah, these words are just falling out of me.
Yeah.
You know, no big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Authentic, natural. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's I mean that's my life's work. So if I can ever get there, that'd be great. I've had my moments, but like, you know, it really is life's work for me, and I think that probably many actors would relate to that. Like how can I be more this character right now than I am me,
Right.
and let all the extra stuff just fall away.
Yeah. It's a great way to approach it. And for commercials,
Mhm.
how would you approach it? Because I mean, at least for me personally, commercials are a little bit more creatively challenging, especially, the specs are usually friendly, conversational. Boy, golly gee, did I just buy this at Target? Go now and use this code for 30% off. Like how
Yeah.
how do you kind of bring that authenticity into
Yeah.
something that's often written that's very
Yeah.
selly?
Yeah, it is trickier. I like to think I'm trying to help somebody that I know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just figured this out. Hey, did you know at Target they've got this special deal? Or whatever it is. Maybe it's not Target. But whatever that thing is you're trying to sell, you just sort of say like, oh, I just figured this out. I just got, think about something that maybe you would recommend. Like,
Mm.
hey, have you ever wanted to try sword fighting? Because I just joined this HEMA group and it's really cool, and then maybe practice it that way, and then be like, okay, now I'm going to talk about pet food. Like, hey, do you have a cat? Because I have this cat food, and my cat's fur is like super silky now, and just really picture who you're talking to. Um,
You're just sharing.
you're just sharing.
Just
You're
sharing,
just sharing.
Yep.
And then what's nice about commercials these days is they really, all the copy says natural, non-selly, non-salesy, not too smiley. And I'm like, great, finally, yes. Because like today at Old Navy, it's like really, oh, you have to, that's really forced. And I never liked performing in that part. But now it's like, hey, do you need shorts? Yeah, of course you need shorts. I have a sale on shorts, and you just relax into it, and you you just share that information, and if they like how you share it, you book it, and if they don't like how you share it, you don't. And remember, there's like 1,000 people auditioning for it, so it's a real.
Yeah.
It's a real like, who knows? Just do what feels good, and then leave it alone.
Set it and forget it. Yeah.
Yeah, set it and forget it. And that was a lot of my success with on-camera commercials was. I was auditioning during my heyday, which is not at this moment because careers go like this. But during my heyday of on camera, I would often have 3 on camera commercial auditions a day,
Wow.
and so I would go from audition to audition to audition. I wasn't thinking I gotta book this one. I was just like, oh man, I hope I'm on time.
Right.
Oh, I made it. Okay, great. And then I would see some of my actor friends, and I'd go in and I'd do my thing, and I'd leave. And then later, I would get a call, hey, you're on avail for this. Oh, or hey, you got a call back. Great. And then I would book it. And so that's like, obviously, that's an amazing place to be. But I think it's important to remember when you're in that place, if you ever are lucky enough to be in that place, you're not putting that much pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
So if you can find a place where you can kind of roll back that pressure and just say, "Oh, I'm just here to play. I'm here to solve your problem." And if you like how I solved it, that's great. Then you're going to make it easier for yourself. A, you're not going to put so much pressure on every audition. And B, it's going to be easier to get that audition done and send it off and let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
We have a good one from the chat that I'm going to pull up here.
Okay.
Do you have any suggestions for getting out of your head when trying to just feel an emotion versus actively trying to portray it?
Yeah. So probably just trying to feel an emotion. So it's I have a few thoughts on this. One thing is I wouldn't try to feel an emotion. I would try to elicit a response from your scene partner to get what you want. So if you, and I'm saying, and scene partners in big quotations, because you're picturing this person in voiceover. They're not really there. You can always get a buddy and work with a person, but you're trying to get them to do something. So if you're a princess in a tower, for example, and you need the keys, and there's a guard on the other side of the door, you're trying to get the keys. So it might say in the script, tearfully, pleading, angrily, right? It might give you those directions that the writer has put in so that they can tell the story. But then you have to think in your actor brain, okay, I need to convince the guard to let me out. And you look at the end of the scene, do you get what you want, or do you not get what you want? And let that affect your choices and say, okay, I'm gonna do this scene and I'm gonna beg the guard. And then if the guard's responses are no, 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 how do you keep getting past those no's and allow those no's to affect you emotionally? What does it feel like when you get rejected again and again and again and again? Oh, and suddenly you're having an emotion, as opposed to saying like, I'm gonna cry my way through this scene. I think it's a trap for actors when it says she begins to cry in a script. Man, I have faced that so many times. She begins to cry, and I'm like, well, I gotta cry at this moment. How am I gonna work that up? And I'll sit and I'll be like, sad things. When my pet died. Okay, think about it. Okay, I'm almost crying. And I get in, and I'd be holding onto the tears for the whole scene and really tense.
Yeah.
And then squeezing the tears out. And then you watch it back, and you're like, what was I doing?
Yeah.
You know, you're not really playing the scene, and you're in your head, and you're stuck in that place of saying, oh, I have to do that.
Yeah.
You don't. All you have to do is look at what's the goal of the scene and attempt to get that goal. And if you, as the actor and the artist, happen to cry, cool. If you don't, you're gonna do something else cool, and that's great. And one more thing on tears, just while we're at it, if the actor is crying, the audience can't. So what helps your audience feel that this is one of these truisms, right? If you are watching a show and like everybody's crying, they're all upset, you might watch it and go, oh yeah, they're really sad. But if you watch them and they're doing everything they can not to cry, you're gonna, oh my gosh, like observe this next time. You're gonna be crying so much and feeling so much more deeply watching that performance of them trying to get through a moment and not just showing you how sad they are, but showing that in spite of how sad they are, they're still saving the day. They're still doing what they have to do. They're overcoming their emotion to achieve their goal. That is a far more emotional experience for the audience than it is to see an actor fully give in to all of the feelings that they have inside.
Yeah.
Long answer.
I like
Hope
that.
that helps.
I like the tension there. I like that.
Yeah, I like the perspective of that. That's interesting. Huh. Do you use any specific acting techniques like Meisner, any methods for your approach to acting?
Yeah, I'm like a real scavenger when it comes to my acting. I take whatever. I take a little bit of everything, whatever works. And I use a lot of improv stuff too, because sometimes you'll be playing a scene and you'll be right into like sometimes you'll get a script for an audition, let's say, and you get lines that are out of context. And you know, oh, well, this line is at the height of this moment. So I'll improvise the whole scene leading up, and then I'll do the lines. So I'll do that, or I'll do Meisner. I'll repeat to myself. I'll give myself a mantra, like I have to save them. I have to save them. I have to save them. I have to save them.
Right.
And then I'll repeat that a bunch of times. I'll start the scene, and then I'll pause in between lines. I have to save them, and I remind myself what's going on and what my need is and my want is that's driving me through. And then I took a master class. I audited it with Uta Hagen, but I still was there. And read lots of Stanislavski. I've taken classes all over, and then every time you do any job, it's a class. You learn from that director. You learn from the actors you're acting with. That's why it's always good to pay attention. If you are so lucky to get to work with other actors, put your phone away and just focus on what everybody's doing. Like if you ever get on set and it's not your turn to be acting, spend part of the day just sitting on the side watching the other actors do their thing. You will learn so much. And the same with like a voiceover job. If you happen to, maybe it doesn't always happen, but maybe you show up early and they're like, hey, come into the booth area and just chill here on the couch. Don't sit there on your phone. Watch what the actor is doing in the booth.
Mhm.
You know, these chances come up, and then you're learning from the best teachers you can, which are your
Mhm.
peers.
Right.
Just, yeah.
So with all those scavenged tools,
Yeah.
when do you know when to use them?
Mm.
You. Well, that's like asking Batman which bat tool he's gonna pull out of his belt,
Right?
right? Like you're not gonna batarang a situation that doesn't call for it. Like you're you're just gonna you're gonna feel it. You're gonna
Yeah.
feel it,
Perfect.
and
That's what I wondered. Yeah.
yeah, you're gonna feel it. And the more tools you have, and sometimes you'll try one and you'll be like, oh, I'm gonna
Mm.
try this here. Oh, that didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't work. Oh well, whatever. Try something else.
Yeah.
Just try again. I mean, I've got at this point, so I've been acting since I was 11 and I'm 45. So that's how many years I've been practicing.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have goals.
Yeah.
You never stop raising the bar for yourself.
Yeah.
So you just try again and try again. How can I be better? How can I be easier? How can I be more connected? How can I let this go more? How can I be more present in this? Now I'm learning, I like I said, audiobooks. I went from doing an audiobook a year for a long time to now I did 20 audiobooks in the last year.
Wow.
What do I do with that? How do I tell that kind of story better? What makes a great audiobook storyteller? And how is that different?
Neat.
And how, what you just keep learning, and it's such a beautiful art form in that you get to learn from every person you see, every person,
Yeah.
if you turn on the news and put it on silent and watch those faces, you're
Interesting.
gonna learn some amazing things.
Mm.
People watching is a great asset, so yeah, that's how you do it, and then you just experiment.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How do you approach learning a new genre? Like, for example, like if like when you went into voiceover, like, oh, I've been in theater, I'm gonna approach this, I'm gonna approach this. How do you approach learning and immersing yourself in a new one?
Well, I always say take a class. Take classes. I take classes. Um, uh, you never graduate from acting. Um, and so I'd moved to LA when I was 19, and I was doing a lot of on camera, and I was doing films, and yet I knew, like, I always wanted to do audiobooks, and I wanted to do animation. And then talking to some friends, they were like, "Well, take a commercial voiceover class." So I did that first, and then in doing that, I was like, "No, I really want to do animation," and so I just started taking other classes. I just kept learning and growing, and then attempting. And I think that's the other thing is, like, don't be afraid to audition for things. If you see a student film, audition for it. Try to get it. Because if you get that, then you get to practice it and you get better at it.
Yeah.
Don't get stuck in the forever student, the endless student cycle where you're like, well, if only I could learn this much more, then I'll be ready. You're never really ready.
Right.
Every time I book a job, I'm like, holy crap, I hope I still know what I'm doing. Like you get there and oh yeah, I do. Actually, I know a little bit more than I did last time. And apparently that, whatever that is, they still want it. Great. And so, you're just always, don't try to be perfect. Just explore. And getting back to the question a little bit, it still comes back to acting. So if it's transitioning to a new area of acting, just refresh all your acting chops. Like how do I do this? How do I talk to a person? This is what I teach in my acting basics. How do I talk to a person that isn't in the room with me? How do I practice that? I mean, I would start honestly by having conversations with yourself in the shower. Because you're alone and nobody cares. and do some role playing. Like, okay, I'm gonna be these two people in the shower right now talking to each other. And if somebody hears you, they're like, yeah, it's just somebody in the shower.
How's that work for your water bill?
Do it fast. Set
Okay,
a timer.
conversation, yeah.
You know, turn off the water, suds up, role play. Turn the water back on.
Okay. Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw another question up
Uh-huh.
from the chat. For commercials, when you're reading for something you have no experience with, would you recommend substituting the topic/item with something that has personal meaning?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And then in your mind, like let's say you don't have a cat, but you're selling cat food. But you do have a beloved fish. So you can substitute that, or you can say like, well, I've never been to Montana, and this is a Go Montana tourism commercial, but I have been to Disneyland. You can substitute these
Mhm,
things. You
mhm.
can swap them in your mind to get the feeling,
Yeah.
and then you can also do things like uh, figure out the reason why you might tell somebody about
Yeah.
that thing. So you don't necessarily need to have that experience, but maybe you have a friend, right, that has a cat, and you're like, hey, I just heard about this cat food.
Mhm.
Find a reason to share that information with them. But yeah, totally swap those things out.
Mm.
Don't swap them out. Practice it like that, then let it go. Because if you're holding it in your brain, like I'm swapping this right now, I'm swapping this right now, then you get it in your head. So swap it out, practice it, see what it feels like when you swapped it, and then let it go and just read the copy.
Awesome.
Well, it looks like we are approaching the end of our time. Amanda, thank you so much for
Yeah,
coming on here.
absolutely.
This has been so insightful. And Bill, thank you for hopping on here and
Happy to
joining
help.
me.
Happy to help. Always learning.
Yeah, thanks so much for the opportunity to chit chat with you all, and come take a class with me sometime. It's
Yes.
fun. As you can see, I'm playful, and I don't care how weird you get, because I'm always gonna be the weirder one in the room. So come play with me.
Besides SkillsHub, where else can we find you socials wise?
Oh my gosh, I'm at Amanda_Troop most places, except on TikTok. I'm at Amanda_Troop B with a Y at the end, where you can see like my book talk stuff,
Ooh.
like TikTok book. TikTok is like where there's a lot of audiobook stuff going on, which new. I just learned this, so I'm like, oh, I guess I'll do more TikTok. So I'm starting to do more TikTok, and I'll be doing things like doing narration, audiobook tips, and things like that. And then on Instagram, it's going to be a variety of things, and those are the two main platforms that you can find me on. I'm pretty accessible. DM me whatever if you want to, and if I have time, I'll write back if it's a question about acting or like upcoming class, stuff like that. And then of course SkillsHub, and I have a website, amandatroop.com.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much again, and thank you everybody for tuning in. Be sure to stay tuned for who our guest is next week.
Yay!
Bye,
Thanks so
everybody.
much. Bye.